spectacular,
as well.
over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
When I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
Likely that one big shot's going to land if the guy's not throwing other shots. So I thought with less artillery in the air, less bombs in the air, that the guy would have a chance to get to later rounds.
Joe Rogan reacted to Jake Paul's knockout loss with laughter alongside Anthony Joshua, describing the matchup as a clear mismatch from the very beginning. Rogan pointed out that Paul's previous opponents were largely retired boxers or MMA fighters crossing over into boxing, not a legitimate Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight world champion. He emphasized that Joshua operates at the very top level of the sport and competes in a completely different physical and technical class. From a realistic boxing perspective, Rogan said the outcome was obvious long before the opening bell, and the knockout merely confirmed what most serious observers already expected.
Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the head.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua delivered a blunt post-fight assessment, stating that the knockout had actually saved Jake Paul. Joshua explained that if the bout had gone on longer, he would have systematically broken Paul down, both mentally and physically. According to Joshua, the early stoppage prevented far greater damage, sparing Paul from prolonged punishment inside the ring.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jay, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct...
Anthony Joshua being linked with a so-called circus fight against Jake Paul has immediately divided opinion across the boxing world. Many view it as a spectacle rather than a legitimate sporting contest, with the vast differences in size, experience, and pedigree impossible to ignore. Joshua is a two-time heavyweight world champion and an Olympic gold medalist, while Jake Paul is still learning the fundamentals of the sport. For critics, the matchup feels designed more for entertainment value and audience numbers than for genuine competition inside the ring. That is why it is often labeled a circus rather than a real fight. Simon Jordan reacted strongly after Anthony Joshua knocked out Jake Paul, reportedly breaking his jaw, arguing that the entire event was damaging to boxing's credibility and further blurred the line between elite sport and manufactured spectacle.
Industry, because straight after the fight, I heard the question being posed to Joshua, will he now fight Fury? And then my first thought was, after what I've seen, who cares? After that, who cares if Joshua fights Fury? I like Anthony Joshua immensely, Spencer. Any exchanges I've had with him, I think he comes across terrifically well. But I fail to see where it's taken him, other than hugely increasing his bank balance. You know, I really fail to see what this has done.
Well, it's done nothing, but he was going to fight in November, like I said, and he's just gone in there against Jake Paul. What has it done for his legacy? Absolutely zero. But it was, he's earned a lot of money doing that. And he's going to go again, and he's going to fight possibly February, March, and then there's that Tyson Fury fight that's looming that could happen in September, whether Tyson Fury decides to come out of retirement or not come out of retirement. For Anthony Joshua, he's earned a hell of a lot of money. This is prize fighting, and that's what it's all about. And that's what he's done. And
he argues that these kinds of fights blur the line between true sport and mere spectacle, ultimately diverting attention away from meaningful competition. Jordan points out that Joshua has already secured generational wealth and an enduring legacy, meaning he has no real need for novelty matchups. Even if a long-anticipated bout with Tyson Fury never materializes, Jordan believes Joshua's financial security makes the possibility of stepping away from the sport entirely far from surprising.
Earning more than Joshua. That apart, Spencer, 6 rounds to get Paul out of there. Reputationally, how does it leave AJ?
Well, thankfully it didn't go to points, because I think that would have been a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think that he needed to get the job done inside the distance, and he done it. Look, he could have done it at any given point. I think that he could have cut the ring off whenever he wanted to and got Jake Paul out of there. He took his time on that. He allowed Jake Paul to run around like a rabbit and throw the occasional shot from time to time, and I think he only landed one clean punch, didn't he, Anthony Joshua? And that was the one that broke his jaw in 2 places.
But I mean, you said, did you not, to us in this very studio the other day, he's got to get him out of there in round 1.
I did.
Otherwise, what are we seeing?
Exactly that, and I think what we saw there was a little bit of entertainment, and that was pretty much it. But not entertainment that many people enjoyed. If I'm honest, I think that people wanted to see a demolition.